I need that money. I really, really do. I need that money. I really need that money. Really need that money. I need that money. I really, really do. I need that money. I really need that money. Really need that money. Really, that money. That money.
Phil, we gotta get serious because
just for one thing.
The whole purpose of this show is to hold you accountable, Phil.
Oh,
people out there have said, and we gotta ask you about this. People have said you've been lying for years. You've been covering things up. You're a bullshitter. You're a scammer. All this sort of stuff. Yeah. So I've been talking to the detractors all throughout the week. They've presented me a massive list of questions that we're going to go through one by one by one.
All right, par for the course.
Receipts to check your lies, Phil. And so this is going to be very Frost Nixon-esque with this first question. We're going to be asking the why didn't you burn the tapes level question, Phil. So I hope
everyone's been waiting for this.
For this question, Phil. Dark Side Phil.
Yes.
What is your favorite flavor of ice cream, sir?
Wait, what? That's what you're going to open the show with? You're going to hit me with that? What a question.
Yeah.
I mean,
Listen. The detractors have selected these questions. It's a hard question, but it's fair.
We voted. We had a vote.
Can you give us a legitimate answer to your favorite ice cream, or are you going to dodge?
This is a total trap question. You understand that? Because no matter how I answer, it's the wrong answer. Like, let's say, for example, I say, I like mint chocolate chip, right? Well, that's going to piss off the butterscotchers. And what if I say, like, I like triple fudge, ripple? Well, what about the people who like, Rocky Road? So no matter what I answer, you're trapping me into a question where everyone's going to hate me.
This sounds like a dodge. Honestly,
this is a dodge. This is a deflection, Phil. Can't you just give us a straight answer?
No wonder they're so
your
mad.
Ice cream flavor.
Listen, I would prefer to handle the devil I know. And the devil I know is if I don't say what ice cream flavor I like, people are going to hate me anyway. So I refuse to answer. Absolutely.
What?
Not.
Really?
But Phil, I have heard
5,000 watching.
Confirm or deny this?
Confirm or deny.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you use your financial supporters' money for strawberry ice cream, Phil?
It's like I always say, somehow they always base their giant accusations off a nugget of truth, right?
Okay.
So there may have been a time when I bought some expensive ice cream, maybe some Cold Stone.
Right? Cold Stone?
Cold Stone?
What are you, an aristocrat?
Like, you're asking people for support, but you're buying Cold Stone?
So everyone else can get Cold Stone, but not me, right? That's how it works.
Well, you get donations and you spend it on Cold Stone. What are you, a monster?
I know. I mean, awful. I'm just gonna listen. I've been saying my new
brand, Phil.
My new title. I'm no longer Dark Side Phil. I've an HVP, heinous villain Phil. That's the new name that I'm gonna go with. That was the physical half of it.
Yeah.
But the other half is, quite honestly, with all the bullshit from my detractors and everything, constantly bringing up that I'm playing a wrestling mobile game and all of that, it kind of took the fun out of it for me. It's like, this is something that I used to find as a hobby. I would decompress from my busy day or my stressful day and go watch some wrestling, right? Something silly to have on in the background when you're doing other stuff. You laugh at the plot lines or whatever. But when every moment you hear someone saying, oh, you're spending $500,000 on a mobile game that's wrestling and wrestling JPEGs, blah, blah. It's like, I just don't want to hear it anymore. And so it kind of took the fun out of watching it. Like, I just don't really care anymore because all I'm going to do is hear stress about this bullshit.
It's
I
just
go on stream again tomorrow.
WWE Champions is a great game anyway. Like, even if you were spending money on it, it's your money.
Well, that's the thing I never understood. That's the thing I never understood about this accusation. Say you were spending your money on this shit, right? Okay. Are you killing people? Do you have kids trapped in your basement? You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, the mobile game.
Horrors. Because even if it is all true, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's a mobile game.
Yeah. It's just so stupid because, like you just said, even if it was all true, it's not some horrendous thing. Like some of the people that you've covered and the things that they're doing, I don't know how you can even equate something like that to what these other people are doing, and but then they group me in with them. Like I'm horrible like them. Like I'm doing horrendous things with my life
You're
or something.
number one. They say
right?
that you're
I'm worse. Right. I'm the worst, right? I'm worse than everybody. Right.
It's like, I don't really understand. The thing is, it's because you were such a pioneer in terms of monetizing. Back in the day, nobody else really was making money, making a living like you were, or it was rarer. The thing is, if you started 5 years ago, there would not be that same level of hate for you. I don't think there would be, because it's these old school rules that I used to believe in, because
he did, yeah.
All the YouTubers who I grew up with, like Aciliary and Arch, people would say, you're not supposed to make money on YouTube. It's supposed to be for a passion or this or that. But it turned out there is a lot of money online, and people are making a very good living online, and nobody else seems to, get the hate that you do for running your business. It's wild.
Yeah, I think like you said, I've been around for so long, 16 years and counting as a YouTuber, that there's been like almost generations of different people who hate on me for different reasons, but yet it's become this running meme that you always dislike DSP no matter what he does. Like the early people who didn't like me were like, well, he doesn't deserve his fame because he's not a good gamer. He does bad commentary. He makes too many over the top, like sexual, like really bad jokes and stuff like that. Yeah. We want more professional people to be making money on YouTube, so he doesn't deserve any level of popularity or success. Then it became, oh, well, you see, now he's a dinosaur. He refuses to adopt direct capture and live streaming. So then I would adapt the direct capture and live streaming, and then it was the next thing. Oh, well, now he does this that we don't like. Now he does this that we don't like.
They're always being moved. I want to ask you something. Mm-hmm. What is it that you feel has made your channel be able to be successful for so long, to where you've been able to make a living for 15 years, even under all of this pressure? What do you think it is about your channel and your content that's so special that people just keep coming back to it? Running for office.
Yeah, none of us politicians.
None of us have any power in the real world, really, whatsoever. So what's the problem that we've said these things? You know what I mean? But people will bring it up. Like, they'll bring up those clips of you, or they'll bring up like a clip of me saying, a slur in the past, or Andy, and they'll go, you can't watch this person. You can't do this. You can't do that. It's like, these were meant to be comedic. These were meant to entertain people, but they don't care about that context. It's very sad.
Well, that's what it's all about. You just said it. Context. You need to have this stuff in context, and people refuse to put it in context. Instead, they purposefully take it out of context to try to make it look so bad, so now they have something to get upset about.
Or there is moments in all of our past, and everyone on the internet really's past, that we fucked up, right? We've done stuff that we fuck up, and look back, it's embarrassing, all that bullshit, right? But unless we've killed someone or whatever the hell, well, do we not like are we not allowed to have redemption ever?
None of these are crimes. Yeah. We don't live in England where people are getting arrested for Facebook. Did you see this, Phil?
No, I didn't.
This old man got arrested. He's like 60, 70 years old. He made some anti-Muslim post on Facebook. They came to his house, arrested him for a Facebook post.
Oh my God.
None of us are criminals, except maybe in the thought criminal sense that we dared to think something was funny that was funny for like 20, 30, 40 years. These jokes were being made. Now suddenly it's a big problem, right? None of us are criminals. None of us have broke the law. But yet people think you shouldn't be allowed to make money. They believe it's their right to break your rice bowl and say Phil's not allowed to eat rice. Phil is an evil person, and we're going to stop him from making money. And that's like a mentally deficient way of looking at the world, isn't it, Phil?
It's like Andy just said. In the past, of course, I'm going to admit now, because now you look back and you're like, all right, now in context, that was a bad thing to say, right? That was a bad joke to make, and I would never make another joke like that again. But the fact
That's
that
sad though, because you honestly did nothing wrong.
Even if you did,
that is true.
Who cares? Like, even if you did, though, like, what are we not allowed to fuck up from time to time? It's like, oh no, always walk on eggshells, or a bunch of people are mad. It's
not even a fuck up.
To
accept that it's a fuck up is to accept the framing of people whose worldview that I just radically disagree with.
True. Yeah,
that's the thing is, once you start, oh, I'm so sorry. I got to change my ways. You're accepting their point of view. You're accepting their frame, and they'll never forgive you. There's no benefit in accepting their frame, because within that frame, you're always eternally guilty and you always must be punished. And no punishment is ever enough. So that's where it's like, when you say, I wouldn't make that joke again, you're already letting them control you and win. You know what I mean? And it's like,
I get it.
Yeah.
I get, like, for me, like, think about it. I mean, there's stuff I've done over 10 years ago, and these people will send that to the company that I want to get a sponsorship. Yeah. Oh, here he is. What do you mean? That was 2010. It's 2024. Like, what the hell? How could this even be considered as anything relevant? But they do. Because, like you said, it's like universal. These people, what it is, they have a simpleton's mindset, okay? You're either 100% good or you're 100% bad. There could never be any shades of gray between. There's no situation where maybe they're right now and maybe they're wrong later. No, you're just either the hero or the villain to them. And that's like a toddler's mindset. Like, how could you not understand that in life you have to have situations where sometimes you agree over here, sometimes being in the middle is okay. If everyone was all one way, wouldn't life be boring as shit?
It would stink.
Exactly. We want to have interesting people in the world. And the people who hate you admit that you're an interesting person, Phil. So why do they want to make you boring? Why do they want to try and destroy you or change who you are when they're so obsessed with you?
The answer to that, I think, after 16 years of seeing the abuse, I think I understand what it is.
Autism.
There are people on the internet who have literally formed social networks around hating certain people. They've literally spent years hating a person, and now they have friends who also hate the person. They have Discords they hang out on. They have posts like Kiwi Farms. All they do is post up doxing and all kinds of horrible things. And they get a feeling of community and self-worth, seeing that they have negatively impacted this particular person. And because this person is visible, I'm visible, right? I'm on the stream every day. You sometimes see the negative impacts that you have on me in my life, and it gives them a feeling of like accomplishment. And now it's like they go up in status in these social circles because they've somehow hurt me. Okay. It's sick. Normal people will hear that and be like, what? Like, what kind of a person would get pleasure out of hurting someone they don't know and has never done anything to them? But that's literally what it is. They have these crazy communities of obsessive people who get pleasure out of it.
Wait, may I say one thing? May I say one thing so fast? So there is this whole thing where we're mean to people. We cause drama or whatever. But here's the thing is, we don't go through people's their jobs, call them. We don't do this. We always just watch their video.
People.
We watch their video and go, right? It's a big difference between logging someone and having fun, right? And being like, oh, look at this idiot. I'm going to react to their video and make fun of them, right?
I'll ask you something. I saw this in chat, and I think it is curious because we're talking about, offensive jokes in the past. How did you feel when, in that Side Scrollers interview, they ambushed you about all that stuff, and they tried to basically cancel you for it?
Right. See, here's the thing. I was okay with them asking me anything.
Sure.
But then if I give you the answer, that's the truthful answer. And then they're like, oh, no, that's not what it was.
Yeah,
what do you mean? He's like, no, the joke that they brought up was not a racist joke. Now, you can argue the joke was bad because it was about a child who was going to get kidnapped by a sheriff or whatever, the specifics of the joke. But they turned it into a racist joke. I never thought in one iota in my head about the race of the child involved. If you think that my joke is a racist by default, it probably means you're the racist. Because that's the first thing that came to your mind.
You get him.
Right?
It's in fact you who's the racist. Side that's the way they're thinking, right? But man, did they ever do you dirty, Phil?
How
do you feel about that interview?
on the record about the interview, okay? Because I've never really, actually, this is true. Besides my streams, I've never talked to anyone about the interview before. So let's talk about it, okay?
I watched it 2 days ago. Here's the one thing I noticed immediately Craig did to you, okay? Obviously, he was watching his chat and reading like the questions and getting mad with chat. You know, he went a group think or whatever. And the one thing was you used to like shit on people while playing games, right? And then you said it was a character or whatever. And then there was like you as normal, Phil. But then he starts to grill you on, but who are you now? Are you this hateful guy? And I was just thinking, who gives a fuck?
Gives a shit?
He's an internet personality. Who cares if he's an asshole? Who cares? Like I don't understand. I mean, you like explain like who that character is compared to who you are now or whatever. I don't care, but you could answer that if you want. That's the one.
Here's what happened during the interview.
Sure.
Okay. They came to me. First of all, they didn't want an interview with me. They had known me from over a decade ago. I was a fan of when they used to do things on screwattack.com.
Yeah.
And I had even gone to a convention as early on in my YouTube days, like 2012, 2013. I went to a convention, Screw Attack Gaming Convention. So I was friendly with Craig from over a decade ago. Okay.
Whoa.
So he's redoing his podcast. He emails me and asks me as a favor to appear as a guest on his show to give him a boost because he has no viewership. Okay. I agreed to do this. I said, sure, I'll do it. I'm a friend of yours from like a decade ago. You know, we haven't talked in a long time. Why wouldn't I do that? Then what happens is he announces he's going to have me on the show and all my detractors contact him. And they're hitting him nonstop with all the negative things that they want him to ask me. And what happens is in his mind, the light bulb dings, right? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this into an interview and I'm going to find a way to use this to propel our show into popularity because right now they were doing it for about a month. They had all these other YouTubers on it. They weren't getting anything out of it. Like they were getting a couple hundred views a stream. That was it. So they said, this will be the big one, right? So they approached me and said, can we change it to an interview? Sure, why not? What are the criteria? I said, you know what, guys? I trust you. We can do whatever. We'll do it as long as you want to go. I'll clear my whole day. It's not a big deal. I don't think you're going to do me dirty or whatever. I think that you're going to ask me questions and I'll answer it honestly. But I think what happened was they got so inundated in almost the feeling of celebrity that they are going to be the ones to do the Dark Side Phil interview.
Yes.
You didn't do it with anybody else, right? So now we're the big shots who are going to get this popularity. And they started to see that if they sided with the detractors, that was going to benefit them so much more than if they actually were fair. And what's funny about the interview, I will admit, there's a couple times during the interview that question about the joke kind of blindsided me. Fucking Keemstar showing up out of nowhere for no good reason.
So
that blindsided me.
What did you think about that when they brought Keemstar on? And you were honestly really respectful to Keemstar.
Too nice,
and
actually.
You were way too nice to him. What I thought was disgusting about this was these guys had Keem's dick in their mouth so hard. When you're trying to make valid points about stuff, they had to shoot you down at every turn, be like, how dare you? And it's obvious they were sucking up to Keem. It's obvious they were desperate for a crumb of clout from Keem's table, which they honestly never even got in the end anyway, because they're beggars and bums. And that's, at the end of the day, they don't get anything.
Even beyond that, too, it's like, oh, Phil makes fun of people with drama. And then you suck up to Keem. Drama alert. The guy who's like, oh, this girl's cheating on this guy and their Instagram. This happened. Who cares if there's drama?
We all know he's faking drama.
Yeah.
We all know he's scripting drama.
Yeah.
Have you been watching this stuff? Where I doubt you've actually been watching it, but you've heard Boogie.
Oh, yes, I've heard. Yeah, but
you've heard Boogie's faked cancer. Your take
on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, at this point, is it really like at this point anything to do with anyone associated with that show? Why would you care? Because you know at any moment it could all be fake, right? Like literally the entire thing could be scripted, fabricated. Very well, this could have been a long plot, a long game that they were going to pull this out at some point, right? You know, I don't even know if you can believe what they're saying about the cancer or not. I don't know, and I don't care. That's the thing. Like to me, this is the same as like WWE. Like, you know it's fake, so why are you going to waste your time on that content? All it's doing is trying to milk you for views and money.
As a wrestling guy, Phil, I think you'll appreciate this analogy. Isn't it so Russo-esque, the way that he plots stuff? It's just short-term booking, the craziest stuff he can think of, just destroys the credibility of his product, and long-term it goes to nothing. So I think this actually is interesting to pick your mind on things and see what your takes are. I'm really, really enjoying this conversation. We have a couple questions as we get this Irate Gamer thing pulled up. Chef Red Pill for 5 asks, question for King Phil. What is the King's favorite type of cheese? And does he have an opinion on American cheese? Some people say it's not real cheese.
I think that I don't have an overall favorite cheese because there's different cheeses that go well with different things. You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to eat roast beef, I think, man, a delicious melted Swiss on there is really good. If I'm going to have an Italian style sandwich, I want provolone, right? I like different cheeses. American cheese, if you're getting real American cheese, it's real. But most people don't eat real American cheese. They eat that single shit. That's just oil. It's just like coagulated fat. And that's disgusting. Like you throw that on a pan, it literally turns into a pool of fat. It's not cheese at all. You can buy deli-style American cheese that actually has cheese content in it that tastes a lot better and is, by the way, is way better for you than eating that single shit. So I do have American cheese as well on sandwich. I mean, American cheese is really good on a burger, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell
you know,
yeah.
there's, as the Bible says, there's a time and a season for all things, you know. We got Anime Sucks, Cope and Sneed for 5. So how does Phil feel about the fact that 1, Phil pioneered shitting on modern video games? 2, video games have objectively gotten worse since around 2011. Phil is a pioneer when it comes to the gaming industry, Cope and Sneed. Do you agree with that it's gotten worse over time?
Again, what's happened with games, just like with competitive fighting games, just with anything else, when the money got big, that's when the corporations and the guys in suits move in to take over, and they have to homogenize and make everything milquetoast to be appealing to the masses so that they can make tons of money to appease the shareholders. Just listen to everything I just said. Did anything I just said have to do with the game?
No.
But that's all they care about. That's literally the reason they're there, is to make money for shareholders. So you used to have these insanely creative games that would break the mold. And there were years where it was like every month there was a game that was a new genre. You didn't even hear about this game before. Like, what kind of game is this? It's a new thing. Now you're lucky to even get a game that's not the 3rd or 4th in a line of existing games, or a spin-off of something, or the next fad of Battle Royale or team-based shooter or something you've seen before. It's just there's no originality anymore because the number one concern is we have to be sure whatever we do will sell a certain amount to make money. So what else was popular? Copy that. But now, like you just brought up with Suicide Squad, the formula doesn't work anymore. You've already milked it too long, and now people see the games for what they are. When a game is being made just for making money, people aren't going to buy
Phil
it.
What his legitimate feelings regarding almighty Tevin are. Tevin is nothing like the typical Phil Spurgs. He's a chill dude. I don't know anything about him. What's your feelings on him, Phil?
Literally, all I know about the guy is that he used to restream me a ton. He was one of the people known as the restreamers, the people who just live restream and do commentary over.
Yikes.
I guess he used to have a lot of issues with my ex because I think he used to bring her up all the time. That's all I know. But the truth is, I've literally not for a moment ever seen this man until someone submitted a video of him from before he ever was like a YouTuber for my React show like a month ago. And he was just like standing in a car talking about rap or something. And I was like, first time I've ever heard this man spoke or ever seen him. I don't have time to go watch this detractor shit because there's so many of them and I work too much. Like I don't have time to sit around and research.
The one thing I've heard about him, is this true? I heard he played you at Street Fighter and beat you. Is this true?
I have no clue. You
don't know.
He definitely might have because I've played thousands upon thousands of people online, but to my knowledge, I have no idea.
Online. Okay. Anything else, Ash?
Okay. Let me see here.
And only like very nervously. Jesus Christ.
What was that conversation? He was 39.
You know?
Hey, son, time for the birds and the beasts discussion.
At 39 years old, did he ask for it? Did he feel like he was robbed of the conversation?
Wow. I don't know. I'll say this. I do have an opinion. on a particular topic that applies to him and other YouTubers.
Okay.
Listen, if you're going to make content that's risque, that's self-deprecating, that's whatever, you have the right to do that because you're making that choice for yourself, correct? You're putting yourself on camera. You are the one who's going to risk that you'll be derided or made fun of or whatever. But if you have kids, there is a whole different dimension to this that must be explored. You are not only responsible for your own actions, but that is now going to go onto your children. The things you're doing will be projected onto your kids. And you have to think responsibly. These people are not doing that. Instead, they're just thinking, oh, in the moment, I'll do whatever I want on my stream. I'll say whatever I want to do or do whatever I want to do, say what I want to say. But now the kids have to live with that forever, right? If this guy goes to jail for an extended period of time, now what happens to the kids? Now they're a broken home, and is there relatives that could take them in, or do they have to now go to foster care for the rest of their lives? You know how awful foster care is in the United States? I personally know from a few people, it ain't nice. It's awful. So you have to not be thinking just about yourself. And I hate to say it, but I think a lot of these people who get into positions of power as content creators don't realize that level of responsibility they now have if they have people who are dependent on them. And this is awful to see how he's behaving and what he's doing. He has not a care that this is going to affect these children. It's sad. It's sad. It's depressing, quite frankly, to see this kind of behavior.
Well, also his like he has a kid that's like 16, and you must imagine it was all over the news, right, and like all over online and stuff. The kids at school and his friends know, hey, your mom and dad are those guys? Like, it really is just like terrible.
Everyone, Darkside Phil here. The only detractor channel that I watch is Duty Streams.